I will do anything to improve efficiency around the kitchen. I find that the kitchen is like the one place in the house where it needs to get tidied the most often, and today, in partnership with Cricut again, I'm here to bring you a few DIYs that you can do to keep your kitchen organized and tidy. If you've seen my previous DIYs with Cricut, I've done some pretty cool things, but this time around I want to show some very simple ways that you can use the Cricut to improve organization around the house. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Letitia. I do DIY home and fashion content, and you could follow along on my journey through renovating the house. So be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. So let's get started.
1, 2, 3.
So we're starting in not the kitchen, but this could be in the kitchen. This is just where I keep my favorite appliance, and it is my chest freezer. So when we first got our chest freezer, we just went crazy. Went to Costco, bought everything that we wanted without even thinking. We were just like, it's no problem, we have a chest freezer. And now that things are put away, we've lost track of things. And then another issue is that Reed now eats half raw, and I have half of her food in there that's frozen, but also frozen meat of my own that I need to eat. And if you're not labeling things, there could be mistakes that could happen. Now I keep my chest freezer in my dungeon basement. This is, ooh, I just get so creeped out every time I come in here. This is big old Bertha, and she holds all of our things. I'm going to mark all of my inventory right on top of the freezer. So this one will be super simple. I'm gonna start on design space. I'm gonna make a square. It's up to you if you wanna put best before date or the date that you put it in the freezer. I think I'm gonna use the date that I put it in the freezer. Like, there's freezer burn, but things last quite a while. I just want to do this as fast as possible and get out of this creepy basement. Get me out of here! So this is my spice rack. I never said that my kitchen was organized. I'm just saying I'm doing DIYs to organize my kitchen. A lot of things behind the cabinets are not great. I had these spice jars from IKEA. A lot of them are getting mucky, and these jars are not great for stacking. So I'm gonna revamp my spice system with these. This label came with the packaging. Font is terrible. Instead of getting labels printed, I have an alternate way that labels things very nicely, subtly, and clean. So let's go. So I have all of the spices that are in my spice cupboard, and I was thinking of using a more decorative font, but it just doesn't look as good as nice and clean and all caps. So I'm gonna print this version instead. So I measured these ahead of time, but for the glass jars, on average I would want it to be around 2 inches long and about ½ an inch high for the font, just so that it's easy to read. I realized one thing. I cut the stencils a little too tight. I shouldn't have been so stingy. So in the areas that are, there's barely a gap, I added extra tape so that when I'm adding the etching cream, it's not going to spill over and I'm not going to smudge what I shouldn't be smudging. And this is a tub of etching cream for tile and glass. Did a test spot on the bottom of a spare jar and look how nicely it looks. It wasn't terribly smelly, but just in case, open the windows, gloves, and a brush. You leave this on for 5 minutes and then you're good to go. I don't get it. It didn't work on this glass. I waited extra 10-15 minutes. You're supposed to keep it on for 4 to 5. What kind of magic glass is this? Making a quick pivot here. So I'm gonna go back to the original font that I had, as well as sticking to just labeling. I really wish I could have used etch cream, but it's okay. If I use permanent glossy vinyl, it'll do just as well and hold up just fine. The last font that I used, I had teeny tiny little, like the center of the A, the center of R's and B's. But this one, you see everything is connected beautifully. And I have an extra little helping hand that has promised to help me apply labels while I continue with work. Always room for activities. So we go to several different grocery stores. I need to go to an Asian grocery store, and then for bulk items we go to Costco, and then sometimes we go to other ones just to buy and source different things. We do this all the time. Something will pop in my head and I'll be like, oh, I should get this next time we go to the grocery store. Then we get to the grocery store and we forget and we're like, I don't remember what we were here for. So we've tried post-it notes, but we lose the post-it notes and we don't know where to go. So I came up with a great solution, is to just get a grocery list and put it on the fridge. Oh my gosh, it's so hot. Why did I wear a long sleeve? So for this grocery list, I'm using transparent vinyl, and I tested it on the transparent. It works totally fine with dry erase. And I'm going to make a drop shadow, keep everything with one shade of vinyl to keep it to one sheet for you, but also just to keep things clean, because the fridge tends to get kind of messy, especially because I love putting things up on the fridge. Oof, that looks nice. I'm also going to make fridge magnets. If you were with me circa 2012, like trash DIY Letitia era, where I was just making things for the sake of making things, I made these fridge magnets that I used with marker. I do really like them, but I think it's time to update them. My top grocery items are coffee, milk, eggs, dumplings, we eat that a lot, garlic, and noodles. I love that the Cricut just arranges everything on the mat for me. I don't have to worry about making sure that I'm maximizing the vinyl. They separated this into 3 mats, which is perfect because the drop shadow, as well as the base of the magnets and the word grocery list, is going to be in the sage green. And then the icons I'm going to print in white. I don't know where anybody else puts their scrap vinyl, but this is where I put mine. Let's go put this on the fridge. It's looking big. You know what I just realized? I had a friend make these for me in elementary school because it was impossible to get anything with my name on it, and I was always so envious of the kids that would come back from their trips and have keychains with their names on it. And she had her dad make these up for me, and I think I just realized that maybe her dad had a Cricut, and I can make one of these too now. So a couple of things that I realized I did wrong. First of all, transparent vinyl is hard to stick on and get smooth and avoid bubbles. And then also I reprinted the grocery list because it was on top of the vinyl, and as I was trying to smooth it, I couldn't get around the air bubbles, and I was peeling up the very, very fine lettering. So what I'm gonna do is stick to the dry erase, cut a dry erase thing, and then after lay the label on top. So there is a certain order to things to get this right, and I'm gonna fix my errors. Okay, let's get this right.
Sweaty back.
Crispy. I'm calling it quits for the day. But for the sake of continuity, I'm wearing the same shirt tomorrow, and we're keeping on this tomorrow. Tired of a dirty spoon making your kitchen totally messy? Here's the solution. I got my hands on a Sculpey kit. I've never used polymer clay before, and we're going to make our little spoon rest with a variety of greens. See how it goes. So what I ended up doing was making a circular form, and then I took this comb, and it's perfect to create ridges on the plate to help catch sauce a little better. I blended as well as I could and closed all of the surfaces around the clay, because the worst thing is having any nooks and crannies where sauce or oil can drip. I made a lip around the plate as well, just to make it a higher functioning spoon rest catcher, sauce catching. I'm going to wait until 7 o'clock when my hydro rates are off peak hours and I can turn on my oven and it's not boiling hot, and then I'm gonna cook it and see. But just picture it, cute.